Hello. So as I said, I'm assistant professor at University of Nantes. I first apologize for the awful title of my presentation. In fact, the full story is that I wanted to get a public name for this experience in my university, and I asked it for the name without the backslash tilde, the sign, and it was refused, and then because this title was not conforming to the chart of my university, and of course, which is normal, they asked me what I would put behind this name, and I start explaining what I try to put behind this name, and it's exactly what I will explain you during this slot of time. In fact, in the University of Nantes, we have two entities concerned with the scientific heritage. So you could ask, what is the scientific heritage in a university? In fact, it's collecting old objects, putting this object somewhere, trying to understand what are these objects, trying to find useful documentation concerning those objects, and showing these objects in public expositions to explain the story of these objects. Okay, concerning, of course, physical objects, but in a university there are plenty of practices and other useful things such as publications, shows, documents, plenty of collections. Okay, so these actors have, for the University of Nantes, this not well formalized role. So I give you some example missions. Since 2007, we formalize an hardware inventory of all the material. Okay, at a computing point of view, it's not very exciting if I tell you I work for an inventory. But I will adjust this one. As a little quiz, could you recognize this? I saw it's small. So. It's a light bottle. It's you can see it like the ancestor of a condenser. In fact, sorry, my picture is not good quality. Imagine a bottle with something like aluminium paper inside. and a big central coil and some conductor coil outside, something like a coaxial cable, what you today call a coaxial cable. And when you put some current inside with some voltage, about 1000 volts, you can charge this and discharge them. Okay, it's something like a smartphone battery in the 19th century. Okay. So this. Sorry. This object is one of the objects we can find in a university because a colleague of mine used to have in his habit the use of such a hardware. Okay. We propose some for our missions. We propose some publication, for example, DVDs, for example, websites, for example, papers, for example, exhibitions, and a big activity is landing objects for expositions. In fact, my own policy at the University of Nantes is to lend objects to anybody who asks. Okay. Some of my colleagues, not all of my colleagues, share this point of view with me. But anyway, if you want to see late bottle in action, feel free to ask me at the end of this show. I have not this battle with me today, but we could arrange for me to lend it. In France, it's a nationwide initiative in France. We have a public website. Sorry, it's in French. Pastec.ifr with many contributors. For example, one of the contributors of this website is Aconit Association. If you don't know what is the Aconit Association, another quiz, sorry. Who knows what is the Aconit Association? Okay, if for the others, just pass this door, and there is a stand 10 meters left. Okay. For example, the Aconit Association acts in Grenoble and in this area for the same kind of missions as mine. Okay. And is a contributor to this website. So maybe to make a little feedback to my title, the website will be probably from, and the domain name I wanted will probably using this one as well. Okay. But that's not my real, of course, my real topic today. As expositions, so I give you some sample of exposition. As you can see, these expositions we we participate are not computer specific. Sorry, the exposition title, of course, in French because the expositions led in French, in France. Sorry. The first one was concerning medical hardware. The second one was concerning electronic devices, and so on. With topics concerning the University of Nantes activity. More specifically, something which is more in my concern, and I suppose more in yours, concerning computers, information technologies, and so on, security, of course. We have a specific activity on concerning the preservation of the cultural heritage for computers, computer practices, and so on, since 2010. For this activity, we are 5 for the whole University of Nantes, including some other sites, and I must say that I'm the only non-retired member of this team. We manage the inventory, description, restoration, exposition of approximately 2,000 to 3,000 objects in this thematics. I'm not completely precise here on the number, because these objects, some of these objects are are exposed, are from other institutions other than mine, and of course I would not attribute to my university an object which is not from my university. So the reason why this number is between 2,000 and 3,000, I have no precise idea today of the number of objects, because the objects are either very big objects, for example, a little computer, Bull DPX 2000. If you don't know what it is, it's 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter. The average consumption is about 5,000 watts. And this device can run the wonderful Spix operating system. And this device was a mini computer of the mid-80s. Okay. So I could understand why most of you don't know precisely what is this object. So it's an example of such an object. Another example is a printed circuit, exactly what I found has to be a printed circuit, dating from the 60s, because I found a date on one ship. One ship that I tested it a little on a spare evening time. And I convinced myself that this small ship was a transistor. And I found it quite interesting that I found a transistor on a printed circuit of the 60s. But I don't know what it was for, this printed circuit. I don't know. I don't even know what what was the circuit of this device, to the University of Nantes. Okay. Of course, you feel free to say me that for somebody who is speaking to you about the preservation of cultural heritage of a university, is not really a good example. Okay, but it's interesting. Okay, and I will not describe the other 2000 objects. Some exposition examples we recently participated for computer science in this mission of the university is at both were in Nantes. It wasn't too complex for us. But these two expositions, we made some demonstrations and some exposition of ancient computers, ancient information technologies, of approximately 3 cube meters of such hardware for the first and 2 for the second. And for the Fête de la Science, it was in the building of the University of Nantes. We make us some kind of capture the flag session, trying to make plenty of demonstrations with functioning material. Okay, functioning material between non-functioning material, functioning hardware between non-functioning hardware. The main difficulties for functioning old hardware is to make them properly functioning the same way they were functioning the time of their at the time of their use, their historical use. Okay. In computer, for example, imagine what could be the difficulty of making the functioning of everybody knows what is MS-DOS. I think the person from Microsoft who starts the meeting this morning knows what it is. You know what is Minix, the Minix operating system? Do you know what is a logabax? I'll just show you what is a logabax. This dream hardware, a PC, an authentic PC. So its processor is an Intel 8088. It's an 8-bit processor. It was released in 1985, and it correctly runs MS-DOS version 2.11. We have 3 functioning logabax for our mission. So as a demonstration, we put one on the table, another one on the next table, a third one, and another table. One is running MS-DOS version 2.11. The second one is running Minix. If you don't know what is Minix, it's a Unix-like operating system running quite correctly on such hardware. Maybe some of you won't fully agree with me, but let's say it's an ancestor of Linux. And Linux can drive this computer. So a second one is running Linux. And the last one does not want to boot the day of the exposition. Things that are very common in organizing such an exposition, of course. What would you do if you had such a dream configuration behind you? You have one computer running MS-DOS version 2.11, another one the ancestor of Linux. What do you want to do with them? To plug them, of course. You want to share the magnifical output of your C program. Hello world. You wrote on your first logabox to your second logabox, and you make a network with a cable. Have you an idea of what network is available easily on such an hardware? Did you hear of, for example, PPP, point-to-point protocol? It's an easy protocol to deploy between an MS-DOS 2.11 and Linux version 1 using a serial cable between these computers. Okay. And it was included with some modifications in Dreamful programs like Laplink, Kermit, and things like that. Okay? I come back to another activity. For the same hardware. Of course, we try to describe its characteristics. Of course, a computer characteristic has some physics here, have some software. Okay. For the physical characteristic, it's quite easy to demonstrate them. But concerning the software characteristics, we face to some domain-dependent problems. Domain-dependent because we work with computers. Computing is a young science. Yeah, young science because as compared to, let's say, anatomy. I think anatomy is an older science than computers. But we have a young university, but the problem is not here. The problem is with the Moore law and big data. A first problem. You all know what are Moore law and big data, and you could tell me that Moore law and big data were not real problems in let's say 30 years ago, because 30 years ago, the Moore law said that the computers, this famous logabox, its clock is around 1 megahertz. Okay. And it's storage, sorry. The storage is an floppy disk, a 5 and square inch floppy, double sides with 360 kilobytes capacity on each side of the floppy, as compared to any smartphone you have. These figures are completely ridiculous. Okay, but and big data as another another image, another illustration. The size of the internet 30 years ago was approximately 100 gigabytes. 100 gigabytes. It's what you have in any hard drive you can buy anywhere for $10, 10 euros. Okay? And maybe I'm a little optimistic. Let's say $30. But the problem is it's evolved, and its complexity, and the problem with data, and the problem with computers, and the problem with model is the problem with time. And now, of course, I won't try to make the demonstration of the size in bytes of the internet today. It's quite a complex calculation, but it's possible. The same for the model. I won't try to compute the number of transistors today, but the problem is the induced complexity for the preservation of this heritage at the level of a university is a very complex task. At the level of several universities, it's a more complex task. At the worldwide level, is a very, very complex task. The hardware are quickly obsolete, not functioning. A little 12. Oui, je passe à la démo. Okay. Frank asked me to start demo time. Just to introduce my demo, I give you a sample problem. So I started to develop it. The webcam. And no, okay. So as a case study, the proposed demo is to demonstrate a piece of software, the Maurice worm. The Maurice worm is an internet worm at 1986. Focusing the send-mail program, which is a mail transfer agent, and it uses just-in-time cross-compilation. In fact, the source code of Maurice worm was C. It's demo is starting. Sorry for the delay. Sorry. Anyway, for those who are interested, pardon. Anyway, for those who will be, I hope, interested for full demos, I give you a rendezvous, a meeting point at 6 o'clock tonight at Amphitheatre H with a fuller demo. But let's go on. So I give you some code sample, historical code sample first, and then we will start compiling them and in emulation of historical hardware. So this directory contains the source codes for a C compiler dating. Sorry, the date here is not correct, of course. This one is better. It's a compiler that was used to compile Unix version 1. Okay. So, do you want me to start the compilation of the compiler? Sorry for this experience of Murphy-Law. Pardon? Yeah. So as yeah, okay. I will. I propose you to see the demonstration at 6 o'clock. It will be simpler for all of us. Well, thank you for your attention. If you have questions,